Hey guys, welcome to The Refined Savage. This week on the show, we have Kylee Rae and Heidi Howar. These are two of the top women's powerlifters in the world. One gear, one raw. We were in the middle of a conversation when I started this up, so don't be surprised if it starts off a little crazy, a little rough, but it ended up being a really great conversation with these two extremely strong women. Check it out.
Right arm, and then this past April in the women's pro-am, I did it on my left.
Oh, so you've done, I didn't know you did both of them.
Yeah, it was my very first multiply meet.
But then you deadlifted after you broke it.
Yeah, and I was pretty sure I did the same thing to the other arm, but I was just like, fuck it. I remember he told me, look, you can go home with 1 record or you can go home with 3. And I was like, fuck this, I'll go home with 3.
Yeah, right.
So.
Excellent.
So I did.
And you're injured now too, right? What's wrong with you?
I'm not really injured. I'm just rehabbing everything that I have annihilated for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
So, like, my subscap, my tendonitis, my elbow. But I found out that, like, going into my last meet, I had, like, terrible tendonitis, and nothing was working. Like, I was living on, like, what I thought was 1,000, like, milligrams of ibuprofen a day. I had this big bottle, and I never really read it. So I was taking ibuprofen for, like, the swelling and inflammation.
Yeah.
And my cousins were over at my house, and one of them was like, hey, do you have ibuprofen? And I give her this bottle, and she was like, this is acetaminophen, not ibuprofen. And I was like, are you shitting me?
Codeine in
So it's Tylenol, so it's not doing anything
Right.
for the inflammation
Right.
or swelling. So I was just taking nothing for this inflammation, this whole meat prep, because I'm not smart enough to read a bottle and see what it was.
Well, I'm no better. I do all that same stuff too. I swear to God, if Aaron wasn't in the house, I poisoned myself. We were going out to do a podcast with Eric Worksey, who's the throws coach at the University of Iowa, and I'll wake up every once in a while. My traps will be real tight, and I'll get a headache from it. So I'm gonna take some ibuprofen. I said, well, how many should I take? She's like, just 2. I said, oh, of course.
So 4.
4. So I took 4. Didn't eat anything. Slamming coffee down, and I'm halfway up to the University of Iowa, and I'm like, I'm gonna puke. I got the windows rolled down, and just getting the wind on my face. I'm like, oh God, this is really bad. Thank God I didn't. But yeah, it's always, I'd be dead by now with medications if it wasn't for her, because I don't pay attention at all.
I didn't, not at all. So
Yeah.
now that I moved my grip out, actually, and it's really helped that, and my squat stance out too, which is actually less hard on my hips than being really narrow like I was. So
Right.
my whole off season has just been doing everything differently than what I was doing before, just to alternate things, give the muscles a break, introduce new muscles into the movement and stuff. But it's worked really well. Like, I have more elbow pain from squatting than I do benching since I moved my grip out. Because now, like, I was so narrow on my bench.
Yeah, I remember
now,
you being super narrow.
Now when I try to do that narrow, it's like I can't even touch my chest because I get down so far.
Yeah.
And, like, my biceps and my triceps are like, nope. It's like I feel like I'm wearing a shirt. So now that I'm out wide, it's a lot nicer.
Yeah. And what was your thinking bringing them in? Just to take the pain away?
Yeah, so where they're not like overextended.
Right.
So just bring it in just a little bit. I mean, I didn't bring them in like, too much.
Right.
But just enough to where it was like, the first month was like super weird, the transition. Cause I'm like, I can't do this, fuck this.
Yeah.
That's like anything new. I'm just
Yeah.
scared of change. But then I realized like, okay, there's no pain. So once I saw that like transition, it was pretty easy.
Then it's just a matter of just
Yeah,
figuring
it's
it out.
It's like hopeful,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, it was super weird for me to go out.
Yeah.
But then once I was like, there's no pain, then I'm like, okay, I can figure this out.
Right.
And it kind of like set me back a little bit, but then it was able to move me forward because I have no pain in my arms now. So
Hopefully they won't snap again.
no, that's something I don't want. And I think maybe like after all the overload I was doing and like, with that grip, like eventually I think they would have snapped.
Yeah, right.
Because, you get those small like hairline fractures and that overload is just not a good mix.
Yeah, I was at a powerlifting meet one time. A girl from Canada came down and her arm broke. I mean, she was in a bench shirt. They pulled the weight out over her chest. And
that happened at the WPO.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, this girl, like,
I think I saw that, like, on Instagram.
Yeah. Well, what did she do? Something happened in her squat. So she, like, fucked up her leg, and then she's like, screw it, I'll go to bench. And then she went to bench, and then she, like, I don't know if she broke her arm or what.
Yeah.
anything can happen to me.
I won't
so
watch those videos either.
I won't either.
Freak me
Chad was trying
out.
to show me this stuff on the way. I'm like, I can't watch it.
No.
Once you're like,
That
yeah,
stuff like it's in your brain.
it
Whenever.
does.
Right.
We were
It does.
talking about that. Like we all went to dinner this weekend. And all the refs were like, well, the one kid said, "Do you ever think about that when you get under the bar? Like, do you ever like those flash in your mind of like those fail videos?" And I'm like, no.
They cannot.
100%. Because like everyone that's tore their quads, like Josh Miller, who else tore their quad? Like there was like 5 people in the past month like that were squatting and just went down in the hole and that was it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, 100%. Like I don't even think about that because
And it's pretty common at a powerlifting meet. You see some kind of
something happens.
catastrophic injury, and you're like, that could be me.
Sure. Yeah, you're pushing it.
And that's why you really have to listen to your body, because you know you just never know.
And there's glory in pushing through it, but then at the same time, it's
Right.
like it's a marathon, not a sprint. So
Yeah.
it's like you push through it the one time, and then that might be the last time you ever push. Period.
Right. Yeah.
I
And
think
it's not
like a
matter of
comeback
what-
from
it's
that
not
would
Yeah,
be
it's even better.
So would be super hard mentally, you know,
Yeah, you always
coming
be
back from
thinking
that.
about
Like,
that.
can that happen again?
Well, once you injure something, it's like a weakness, anyways. Then like, is it gonna happen again?
Well, we had guys on
Lucky
the
him.
circuit who would, so when you throw the hammer, sometimes the fields are pretty narrow and you're throwing the hammer backwards over your shoulder, and every once in a while someone will let one go and it'll go towards the crowd. And we've had guys who've thrown it into the crowd and they could never throw again. You know, it was just every time they get up to throw the hammer, it would just screw them up.
So I told you that one time, like I commented on something. I was like, I don't even know if it was something I was watching that like those guys throw that stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm like, does it ever hit people? It was the
Oh,
guys like
yeah.
standing in the field. It wasn't the crowd, but it was like, I don't know if it's a judge or whatever.
It
'cause I don't know what
happens
that is.
all the time. I mean, not
How much do those weigh?
well, like the hammer is either 16 or 22 pounds, but I mean, I've over the years, I mean, I've seen kids get hit with the sheath bag, which is 20 pounds. My son was sitting in the tent, and Dan McKim, was a world heavyweight champion, came through with a 28 and let go early and zoomed right past his head through the tent.
Ooh.
We were in Wisconsin one time, and they had the small field. They had a set of bleachers, and then they had this track behind the bleachers where the fans could all just, mill past like vendors and shit. So it was super packed. And Luke McKay, who is the track coach at Penn State now, was throwing the hammer and let one go, and it went over the bleachers and landed right where the spectators were walking. I don't know how it didn't kill anybody. It was just dumb luck. It missed the entire crowd of people and landed right where no one was standing.
This is what I mean. This is why I don't play with you guys.
It was crazy.
Strongly and scary. So when you're like throwing stuff like over your shoulder or whatever, is that like a common like tears? in your
Yeah,
shoulder?
I mean it's the same thing. They still you still get hurt and stuff, but it just doesn't. It's not as common probably as powerlifting or anything like that.
The hammer's the thing that has like the.
It's a ball
like a
with
handle.
a big stick attached to it.
I'm thinking of like the one Refined Savage guy. He always throws. But it looks like it's on like a chain. With,
Oh,
like,
that's the 28 or the 56. Yeah, that's
like handle.
yeah,
thing.
so that's more like a discus throw.
Yeah, like because they like spin around. I'm like, that looks really
And-
cool. That would be fun to do. But like then I just think of like you're like spinning around and like that's just pulling on your arm.
Yeah.
Your well, for me it's always my elbows that hurt. So I'm like, I would just pull my elbows and my shoulder.
You get hurt, but it's nowhere near as bad as I think powerlifting when you're constantly putting more and more pressure on your body. Every meet there's more, We get, I think, overused injuries where you've been throwing the hammer
Yeah.
over and over and over again and something's just going to go. But with powerlifting, it's so catastrophic and it doesn't seem like it's coming. It's like all of a sudden you've got 10 more pounds on you than you did last time and then it's over with.
Then you just fail. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got weight on your back too. At least when we're throwing, we get away from it.
Right.
It goes away. You don't have to have spotters catch it or anything.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
That's probably the most nerve-wracking thing is, your spotters. I can't imagine like being a spotter like at a meet.
Yeah,
That
100%
makes
never want to
me
do that.
So nervous.
I
There
get
was-
in trouble because I got thrown out of a powerlifting meet because I can't keep my hands off the bar. So
Yeah.
even when I was spotting you today, I had my hand.
Yeah.
I'm not helping you, but my hands are touching the bar
Yeah.
because I run classes.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not
It's
gonna have
safety
somebody
first.
get crushed, and I
Right.
just can't not do it. So the guy's like, okay, yeah, you're not spotting
It's
anymore.
like some meets that like it literally looks like they pull spotters like
Yeah.
out of the audience. Like, hey, you want a free T-shirt?
Yeah.
Get your butt up there. But
And then as a lifter, like you're relying on them.
well, yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm all
Or
for like
somebody wants a free
women's power and everything. But at the meet that the Iron City Open that I did last June, I was going for the 444 squat. Well, the spotters and loaders were the women from the Pitt powerlifting team. All of them were like small women.
Yeah.
And that's when I had to just like say sorry, but I need someone bigger.
Yeah.
I need to feel like that if this goes bad, because that was 20 more pounds than I'd ever squatted in my life. Like I was YOLOing that one 100%.
Yeah.
So I was like, I love y'all. Thank you for being here, but can we get like some of the biggest men from, you know,
Yeah.
It ended up being like judges and stuff that had to come up on the platform to spot, but I wasn't going to go down with 444 pounds on my back and get crushed and have it roll over my head or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it just wasn't going to happen. That was when I had to look out for myself more than, like,
you
trying
have
to be
feel
cool.
confident.
And that's a smart, like, move as an athlete. Because, you know, what if something did go wrong?
Yeah, you have to
should have
protect
been like,
yourself.
oh, well, my instinct was to...
Yeah, was to ask for help.
Right.
But, like...
You were too...
And that's, like, in the beginning. Like, if you were, like, a beginning lifter, like, you wouldn't be squatting that much. But you might not want to, like, cause a problem by asking. But, like, 100%. And that was the first time I met those people and stuff, and it was like more intimidating, but I was just, nope, I can't. Like, I have to feel like someone can catch me if this goes bad.
Yeah.
Which I didn't end up needing help, so it was good, and at the same time, I was like, I don't want to kill this 120-pound girl behind me. Like, if I dump this, which you're not supposed to dump it ever off your back, but like, I don't want to kill her either. Like, she's a power lifter, and she's a young girl in college, so I'm like, yeah, I don't want to like, smash her either. So it was just best for everyone to just be as safe as possible.
Yeah, and you guys are using weights now that, I mean, you can't just say, oh, well, there's girls lifting, you know, they're going to be
or just people that don't know in general. Yeah.
We can, you know, make do with what we have. It just doesn't work anymore.
It's even in the gym, like at the gyms that I train at, sometimes there's not like training in a bodybuilding gym and you better to have someone than no one. So you're just like, hey, can you come over here? I mean, that gets bad sometimes when you're trusting someone with your life and
I like dial 911 on my phone and hand it to him. Just hit the other one if something bad happens.
I was doing like safety squat bar. I don't know if I was doing box or not, but I asked one guy I knew, and then he was like, oh, hey, my friend can spot the other side. And when I went down, he shoved up on one side of it. So I'm like box squatting, and then like all of a sudden I'm like shifted this way, and I was like, what the hell was that? And then when I look back at the video, I was like, that motherfucker like heaved up on it from the bottom. Like, I didn't need help, but it's just, you can't. That's where it gets like hairy, where you have to be able to trust like the people that you're around or have a good squad to help you.
I am fortunate to have good squads.
Well,
and like at meets, like there's guys that are lifting like over 1,000 pounds. So even though I'm lifting around 600, I'm like, I'm confident in these big dudes.
Yeah.
Like my last meet, these guys were like huge that were spotting. So I'm like, all right, that makes me feel a little better.
Yeah, and well, let's talk about one of the things that's changed since the last time we saw you is you're at Westside now.
Yes.
So, you know, talk about guys that are used to seeing big weights. So, I mean, what prompted the move, and how are things going out there?
Louis, I was always like, kept in touch with Louis, and I would always train there, maybe like once a month or once every couple months. We'd always go out to eat, and one day he asked me, you know, if I would want to come train at Westside, and I was like, wow, like it's like something you think about. Yeah. It was a really cool offer. He offered me a full sponsorship. You know, he asked me to come train there. I'd have to train there 2 times a week to get the sponsorship, and thought about it and accepted. So that's been the biggest change since I've seen you last. I have like more control over like my training.
Is that right? Is that in Westside? You feel that way? That
I do.
I always get the impression that you have no control when you're at Westside.
Kind of like depends on what kind of mood Louis in, because like there's a couple girls I train with, and he always like calls me the night before, and he's like, hey, like what do you want to do? So I kind of have to like on the spot know program like what are we doing, or sometimes he's just like, hey, maybe we should do a Mac good morning, or you should do this for bench. So most of the time like I'm asked to know like what we're doing, and I have to know like why we're doing it too. So that's kind of like new because I've used to always just follow programming and kind of just follow it, So now it's just like, all right, I know my weaknesses, and it's been cool to kind of program my own weaknesses, my own accessories, kind of more say in like my training, and I think that's definitely like paid off.
Yeah.
So it's like it was like more for my own growth. So it's been a weird transition because I'm just used to having like a lot of going from a big team and down to it's like me and a couple other girls. So I train my max effort and my dynamic effort, squats, deadlifts, so my lowers at Westside, and then I do my bench at River City. So Zach Whalen has like he like helps me with my bench there. So I have like
River City's
multiple
in
coaches.
Cincy?
Yeah, so it's in Dayton, Kentucky, I think. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I'm everywhere.
Right, yeah.
Literally everywhere. So it was like a scary move because I never really saw this like change coming.
Yeah.
But then like once I thought about it and thought about like the growth factors, it just kind of was like a no-brainer.
Well, I mean, it's got to be to the point where you're at now where you're going to need stimuluses like that to get you to the next level, right?
Change is good, like
it is. It's
grow.
Scary, but it's definitely like this is the best way I'm going to grow.
And let's face it, I'm sure you loved the people at the old place and
I do, and I can't say like enough good things about them. Like they've definitely like helped me get to where I am, and I mean they've been like that's a huge stepping stone. And I don't want anything. I know people are like, wow, that's such a big bad transition that people probably think they can think what they want, but it was a good move, and it was like a more positive than people think negative.
And you have such a small window of opportunity to do this.
Right.
You can't just sit on your hands and go, well, things are going okay. I'll just stick with this. That there's an opportunity for you to grow as an athlete. And let's face it, putting money on the table for a powerlifter.
Yeah,
that's huge. And we talked about that, I think, when you first did it.
Right.
We were messaging back and forth a little bit, and like we talked about earlier today, I'm always about the money. Go for the money.
For sure.
You put so much time and energy into this.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. So much time. And that was like not the biggest contributing factor of why, but like, obviously it helps.
It's nice.
Sure.
Yeah, it's definitely nice. Nobody makes a whole lot of money powerlifting, but it's definitely a good incentive.
Yeah. And
like my last meet I've made, is more than I ever have. Like, but that was, bigger payouts but it was definitely helped, kind of think about like, okay, why am I doing this?
Right.
Because it's just like, we're putting so much overloads on our bodies and like that wear and tear. And then you think like, oh my gosh, am I doing the right thing? I'm putting off career goals. And it's just like.
You both have families.
Yeah. So
both
it's
have
like,
kids.
Mom, it's just, you have so much on your plate, and it's, training takes up a huge, huge part of our life.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm driving like 2 hours to Westside.
Right. 4
hours a day, really. Because it's like Mondays and Fridays I have to be there. Like Mondays I have to be there by 6 a.m. for breakfast.
Oh, you're on part of that morning
crew. And then train. Fridays are what's really rough because I have to be there at 4:45 in the morning.
Oh my God.
Why?
Louis wants me there at 4:45. We kind of talk for 15 minutes in the parking lot, and then I start to warm up at 5, and then I'm under the bar at 5:15.
Wow.
He is and then he's out the door at 6, so I have my squats and my deadlifts done by the time he goes to breakfast with the guys at 6. So he has all this like.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like a militant schedule.
Right.
He's a numbers guy for sure.
Well, he probably has his whole day though, like scheduled out by the 15 minutes.
Right.
I've said this before on the podcast that I think the closest you can get for an American lifter to train in Bulgaria is Westside Barbell, because I think he has that same mindset where it's going to be very structured and very the way he wants it done, and just like the coaches over there, you know, we have a way to do this, and this is the way you're going to do it, and I want you here at this time and at this place, and you can't argue with the success they've had.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you do it or not.
Right. Yeah. It's not like he's got a gun to your head.
Yeah.
You can either show up and be good,
It's
or
like, yeah, you can take the opportunity and be
Right.
there when he asks, or you can not have the help.
Yeah.
And I always think about like all the stuff he says and all the stuff he does. Like, Louis not gonna be around forever, so I'm just like soaking all this in, and it's just like this. Like the first week I got there, he gave me this book. It's Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and that's like, you know, what has been in my head for. Have you read that book?
I've heard of it. I've not read it.
It's about like a seagull who's just like, you know, he's not in like a he's flying with, you know, a bunch of his team or whatever, and then he like sees that he can do like all this stuff without, and he's just like I'm bad at like, you know, on
like
the
analogies.
Right. But he so he finds out he's like, you know, he's shunned from this group because he's like, you know, I don't want to just eat, sleep, and, you know, just, you know, work. I want to do, so he finds out, like, all this stuff, like, he can actually do by himself, and, you know, they're just like, you're not one of us. So then he, like, goes and finds out, like, this whole other, like, what he's capable of, and he's capable of, like, so much more, and he finds, like, these strengths and speeds that he's capable of, and it's just, it's a really good book if you're a lifter or just going through anything. You should really read it.
Well, it seems like he had you figured out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sounds like he just like
so, but there's different little
needed.
things. Yeah, there's different things that he is, you know, and it's funny because like I'll come in the gym one day and he's like, you need to pick up that book again. And I'm just like, and then when I got there, actually, Tom Barry said to me, if Louis gives you a quote or references the book, he's not just like telling you that. Like, you need to go pick up that book and say, oh, okay, this is what he meant.
Yeah.
You know, so he's a very complex individual. He's just like, there's so many like hidden messages.
Yeah.
You just have to like, you know, I'll be driving home and I'm like, oh my God, like that's what he meant. You know, there's just like something clicks, and, you know, he's not one for excuses or anything. He is just, he is straight to the point. And I actually, not this Friday, but last Friday, we had this snowstorm.
Yeah.
And Chad's like, stay home. I'm like, no, I need to go to training. I totaled my car on the way there.
Oh, no shit.
Totaled my car on the way there. And I remember I got to Westside and I'm like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. And he's like, you're late. And I'm like, I know. I was like, I just totaled my car. He's like, I don't give a fuck, get under the bar. And I'm like, all right. Like,
how did you get from the totaled car to Westside?
So this is where stupid me just kept driving on a shredded tire. But I know if I stop on the side of the road,
I'm looking at Chad right now, just shaking his head.
I drove for 30 minutes, and I was like,
Christ.
Yeah,
did you have like a rim lift?
Yeah, I have a rim lift, but my car is like, I was like, okay, I can, because I hit it like I was literally going 30, 35 max, and I'm like, it took me forever to get there. Like, Louis kept calling me, like, why aren't you here? I'm like, I mean, like, I was on the speaker. I was like, I'm coming. Like, just chill. And so,
because we live in Ohio and there's weather.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But I remember I called him and I was just like, got in a wreck. And he's like, okay, like, where you at? He's like, that's 25 minutes away. And I'm like, I know, but I'm coming. So I honestly don't know how I made it there.
Right.
I literally was just like, okay, my tire light came on. I know it's fucked. And I know that there's probably some damage to my car. Cause like I said, I was going really slow, but like I hit black ice and there was a significant amount of snow. Like Cincinnati wasn't bad, but like once I kept getting further north, I was like, all right, maybe I should turn around.
Yeah.
And he kept texting me. And I was like, okay, I'm an hour out. So maybe I should turn around. I was like, nope, I'll keep going. That was probably a bad move on my part, but
you survived it. Made a good story.
Car didn't.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So.
Well, one of the things I wanted to get you two together, because you guys hadn't met before today, right?
No, we haven't.
And I kind of had this in mind for a while because I had talked to both of you guys, and you're so similar as far as, you know, your size and just two different styles. So yeah, Heidi's in the gear and Kylie's raw, but what are you both in the same weight class?
No, I'm 165.
Okay.
I'm 132, 148.
Okay.
I'm moving up.
See, I can.
Remember,
I think
you
I
talked
just
shit
abs-
about me last podcast.
What?
I heard you're like, she needs to move to 148. And I'm like, I'm working on it.
What did I? Oh, when the last podcast we
Yeah.
did together. Well, you know, you've already done it at 135, so we can go up.
132. I have not
132.
done the bench, but you know, I don't know.
But I thought it would be a good opportunity. We just did a big training session. We're going to make that into a YouTube video. We'll put Zach Pape on that. But I wanted you guys to get together and kind of, maybe a friendship will grow out of this. I think you two
I
could
think
benefit
so.
off talking to each other. And
Maybe I can get you in some gear.
Maybe. I mean, eventually I would like to, because I
You haven't been in the sport very long. So
no, like 2
who
years.
knows?
That's what I said. That's what people.
You're like built for it.
Yeah, people ask me like, or like say like, what could you bench in a shirt? And I'm like, I don't know. But then when I started knee wraps, I'm like, this is horseshit. This takes too much time. It hurts. Like, I don't want to. Let me do it raw.
Oh, see, I love knee wraps. Give me a pair of knee wraps any day of the
brief.
week.
Yeah, that you probably.
Brief's cool because like they just stay on, but like the knee wrap thing, it's like when I'm ready to squat, I'm ready to squat,
Yeah.
and I have to be like, hey, can someone come wrap my knees, like, and then it's just.
I'm such a bitch that if I could live with myself, I would wrap my knees at 315. Be like, you know what, I'm just putting these knee wraps on. But I
mean, there's a lot of
tell
gym
myself
bros
I
that do
can't.
that, but I worked on them a little bit, and then I didn't like them, so then I kind of backed off. I still want to though, but when I was gonna do the current, I was gonna have to use knee wraps,
Yeah.
and then when I've decided I'm not going to, then it, like for my personalness, because I had a disappointing but not disappointing last meet, that I want to hit 1200 in an over 500 squat in sleeves, and
Right.
then put on wraps and go
What
from
sleeves
there.
are you wearing?
Well, I compete in strong sleeves, mainly just because I already have them.
Right.
And I'm really cheap. So I train in Strong House Project sleeves, but I
Right.
compete in extra small strong sleeves.
Right.
So it's just because I bought them and they didn't fit, and like it takes a lot to get them on to compete.
Right.
But I mean, it works for me. So I just, whatever. Really, I really like Strong House Project though. They're really thick. They don't slide. They're comfortable.
Right.
They don't pinch the back of my knees and
Yeah.
everything. I use their elbow sleeves too. And then Dark Side Ironwear wraps, knee wraps, and wrist
There's so many
wraps.
fucking companies out there. I can't keep
Right.
track of.
Right.
Dark Side's from Ohio. They're local.
They're from Ohio?
Yep. I don't know where exactly.
Oh,
Somewhere up around here, but he's a USPA referee. He's a lifter.
Huh.
So for me, I would rather support that
Right.
than like, no offense to the bigger companies, but like then someone
Yeah.
that, I've had this dude, sell me my wrist wraps and then run over and sit in the head ref chair while I benched.
Yeah,
So
right.
I really like supporting like local and smaller companies.
Yeah.
And the wraps are, they're great wraps. They last forever. They're tight and they cast up my wrists like nobody's business.
Oh, those are the wraps you had out there earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are
He's
sweet.
got a bunch of different. Those are like the next to the stiffest ones. And I was in like one step down from those for the
Yeah.
past year, and then I got those ones, and they've been great. I love them.
Do you get when you go into Westside, does Louis deck you out, or do you have like an equipment sponsor that works with you?
Yeah, he gets me like whatever gear I need.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I think to be sponsored by Westside, you have to be like top 10 by Coefficient, and then like you get your gear sponsored by Inzer.
oh,
I was
okay.
gonna say like, is there?
Yeah, so everything I wear is Inzer,
Yeah.
and I've had luck with all of it. I like it. I've only had like one Leviathan that I've ever worn.
Yeah.
Well, I tried the Ultra Pro, but I didn't like that. It was like the lace up suit.
Right.
Yeah,
I
did
don't
not
like the way those.
did
look.
not care for that. I didn't feel like
That's a
safe in it.
fairly new thing, right?
It is. It just like I like the OG old canvas suits where
I
it's
don't like
my
that. To me, those lace up suits look like it's like booty shorts that like it was popular like I don't know, like maybe 10 years ago, that like laced up the side and had like little ties that hung on.
yeah.
And I always hated those, and when I see those suits, that's what I think of. Like they look like those lace up booty shorts.
What do they do? Do they corset you in, kind of? I mean, do they?
Yeah, so there's like 3 like portions on the side
Right.
that you can kind of like, change like the tightness of it. So it'd be like it takes me forever to get out of my suit
Right.
because it's just like it is on there.
Yeah.
So you got briefs underneath and you got a squat suit, and then it just feels like you're trapped. So that you just undo the laces, and you're out of it.
Yeah.
Within seconds.
I think that's one of the reasons why, and we've talked about this on the show before, that raw powerlifting and geared powerlifting might as well be two different sports. You train very similarly, but
so
all
too.
the nonsense of, you're geared, you're raw, all that shit can go away. It's just two different sports. It's like running, NASCAR and IndyCar. It just they look the same, but it's different, and
it is different. It's hard to compare the two. You got raw guys talking shit about geared guys, and geared guys talking shit about raw guys. Like,
I hear a lot less geared guys talk shit about raw guys than I do vice versa.
The funniest thing was talking to Dave Tate at Elite, and he said that when he was competing like in the 90s, and a guy would show up raw, they were like, who the fuck is this nerd? Do you need a bench shirt? Can I help you out?
Or
they were, exactly. That's what he was saying.
And now you go to a meet, we didn't have one. I judged a meet yesterday with 64 lifters. There was not one single ply, multi-ply guy. There was maybe, I would say there was probably less than a dozen even in knee wraps out of 64 lifters.
And probably old guys too, because that's
in knee
wrap.
There was it was half and half, but there was a 71-year-old man who benched 303 raw, and I was pretty impressed with that. He's a USPA national judge, and he set national records at it, and I was like, damn, at 71 years old, I hope I'm still doing this. Like, I hope I'm still...
Louis?
73.
God.
So you're young.
72, 73.
Wow. Yeah, he's, he seems to be still going strong, It doesn't seem to be slowing down. Is he?
No.
He's training? It's in some level?
He doesn't train very often. Well, not like when we train, but he's always, he'll load up the bar. I'll see him like lift here and there, but it's funny because he's always just like loading plates and just.
That's a workout in itself.
I know. Yeah. Right.
I always look at him as someone where it's like, he decided he's going to do this forever, and I have a feeling he'll drop dead in that gym.
I think so too. And he is a person who's literally seen it all, from 2-hour weigh-ins to all the gear changes to literally everything. Like, he just puts his heart and his soul into everything.
Are you ever going to get me an interview with him?
Yes.
I've been twisting her arm for like 6 months to get me an interview with him.
You can come train when 4:45 in the morning.
Train? What are you trying to do? Kill me?
So when I train, just come up and
just like start asking questions like, hey, by the way.
Just put the microphone next to him and.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll
link you up with
get the hook. Yeah. What am I gonna do? Get the son of a telegraph. He doesn't do email and shit, does he?
No. I guess like when he answers emails, he like someone will print him off. He'll write it.
Oh my god.
And then the person
it used to be like the first. I've been down there probably between half a dozen, 10 times over the years, and it was always through Doris. So I would send Doris an email, and she would just get an okay, yes or no. So I don't know if that still goes on, but it used to be the way it was. Me and Carrie went down there a couple times.
That's what I always think when like they post on the Instagram like questions. I just always picture someone in the gym like, hey, someone asked this question. He's like, oh, that will write this. And then someone's like, let's just shorthand this. Okay, this is my answer back.
Yeah, my guess is who's the, is he Irish?
Yeah, so that's Tommy.
Is that Tom? And then the one guy who's the physical therapist.
John Quint.
Big guy, big bodybuilder type
Oh, no,
guy.
Christian.
Yeah. It seems like they answer a lot of the questions and stuff that...
Christian, no. Mostly it's Tom. He's
Tom,
social media. He does all that stuff.
He's an MMA guy, right? Does he train a lot of MMA fighters?
Yes.
Do they have a ton of them out there now?
I'm not sure. They're on like days that we don't train.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen videos every once in a while of some guys out there.
Yeah, they deal with a lot of people, a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
Runners. A lot of Olympic people. But I think he is.
Olympic people?
Olympic people.
Just
whatever they do. But he's in charge of all that.
Right.
So.
So what do you guys got coming up next? I know, Kylie, you said you aren't doing the one out in San Diego, so you're looking at what next?
June next in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
As good as San Diego would have been, and as much as I still am not canceling it because part of me feels like the week before I'm going to end up booking a flight. And
So
just
there's
going.
still some hope you might be going
It's
out
just, there is, but there isn't. Like, I don't want to do it, but then it's like, I know it's a sport about me and it's not about anybody else, but I feel like there's so many people that are like, that want to see me do it, that I kind of don't want to let them down. But I know for me personally, for my performance, staying in Pittsburgh would be better.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Because we talked about that, like, just one, being my coach being there is probably the most important thing to me, because I never know how long he's going to be around.
Right.
So being able to have him there is more important to me than going to any big meet.
Right.
Because you're going to put the numbers up where you're going to put them up. It doesn't matter where, as long as it's a sanctioned meet, it still counts. You know what I mean? Like, for records and stuff like that, and just you're going to put the numbers up where you're going to put them up. So, like, for yourself, you might as well do it where you have the best chances of getting those numbers. So for me, not having to fly across the country and be worried about who's picking my kids up from school and what they're doing and all that stuff, like, is a little bit better for me right now. Maybe in the future, like, I feel like doing this is even better for me because those invites will be there as long as I keep getting better. And if I don't keep getting better, then I'm doing something wrong. And at this point, I feel like doing the Kerr would be doing something wrong because I'm just not ready. Because after my last meet that I wasn't happy with, then I had to adjust a lot of things, rehab a lot of things, prehab a lot of things. Like, she's like less overloading a little bit more, and just figuring out how to train smarter to remain in the sport longer. Because you can only go, hit a brick wall so many times before you're like, okay, I got to go around this bitch and figure out, or go over it or whatever. But you have to figure out a way
And you've only been in the sport 2 years. You're learning stuff as you go here.
Yeah, for sure.
I've learned a lot within those past 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, and still, like, learning, go to a meet in Michigan and you're just in a room lifting with other judges, and, like, I got deadlift help from, two of the other women judges, and just them and their cues, like, instantly helped my deadlift, like, intensely. And I just deadlifted, like, 2 days before that, so I wasn't even, like, fresh and good to deadlift, but just, like, them saying, hey, try this real quick, was like, holy shit, why have I not been doing this for, like, the past 2 years?
Here's a good question. Out of the two of you, who do you think gets more unsolicited weightlifting tips from guys who aren't that strong?
I'm going to go with her, probably.
No, I was going to say you, because most of them, a lot, I'm equipped, so they're just probably like, either they don't know about it. So, I mean, I do get those jerks who are just like, if you didn't have that equipment on, or if you didn't have that arch, like, stay in your own lane, dude.
I don't get a ton.
I really don't either.
I feel like I present myself in a way that I'm respected. And I don't say that like in a cocky way, but like that I don't act like I'm better than everyone or that I know everything. So I'll take weightlifting advice from some people. Like,
Kylie, they don't give a shit how much you deadlift. They want to fuck you.
I know. If you
this is the whole point about this. Nobody gives you unsolicited tips because they want to see you lift more.
Unsolicited, what do I want to call it in a nice way, a politically correct way? If you ask about who gets unsolicited, like, can I see your toes? Messages?
Yeah. Do you get the ones where, like, they want you to lift them up and stuff?
I've gotten a couple.
Lift and carry things, that's a thing.
Super
weird. Can you squeeze me with your legs?
I've gotten that too. I mean, not like, I don't know. Most people are like, I bet your DMs are like,
popping. Yeah, I'm like, they're not as crazy
really
as you think.
not.
But then when I do get one, it's like the craziest.
Yeah.
It's like
freaking weird
that the people like do not give up. And I try to be really nice to everyone. So it's like, you have to be like really disrespectful before I'm like, okay, you can go fuck off. But
well, usually you can like accept it. I was like, decline.
Yeah, I like pre-read this, not today.
No,
I didn't even know that was an option. Like I started getting like this. I'm like, what is it? I have a request. What is this? And I found there's like 75
it's
requests.
Like Instagram's trying to
I feel like the more you entertain it and like respond, the more you'll get.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how you present yourself in a gym too. So if you're like walking around in, half dressed or something,
right?
And then you're, most of us, I mean, not me, I'm just like, I go in there with a goal,
right?
I don't have my tits out, and I'm just like, you know, it's how you present yourself.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's why I don't get a lot of like
I
unsolicited
say the
advice.
same thing. Like, I'm not like a power thought, and I don't try to put my shorts halfway up my vagina.
A power thought.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So for
That's
me,
a new one for me. I'm going to use that one.
I don't go in the gym and pull my shorts halfway up my vagina and then put the camera directly in front of the bench so you can just see all up in my business.
And your video is 30 seconds of your setup from walking, you know,
from your ass and the camera bending over.
Oh, I didn't know that was posted.
That's what you get. Or the dance, the impromptu dance before you deadlift. That drives me fucking insane.
Oh, man. We can get on this subject for a long time.
This is why we'll be friends.
Right. We can get on this for a long time because I just had this, like, just because you're popular does not mean that you're good. Just because that you're popular does not mean that you have any ability to tell other people how to do anything.
Yeah.
Just because you have 13,000 followers on Instagram does not mean shit.
Doesn't mean you can coach. It doesn't mean
it doesn't make you a coach. The 100% thing. Like I don't care. You're getting these people that are paying you for programming, but they're paying because you're popular.
Yeah.
They're not paying because you know what the hell you're doing. Yeah. And most of those people will just copy and paste what they get programmed and implement it to someone else. Just adjust down the percentages.
I'll tell you guys off the air because I don't want to front anybody out, but we have a guy in here who I make fun of because we say he pays for robot programming. And what he did was he went to this super popular strength coach and bought his online programming, but he was already with this other coach before who he was doing his online programming, and it was the same program. So this guy is getting programmed from this other guy and then selling it to my guy.
Yeah,
it's the same
everyone
program.
does.
And it's just like, you're just literally making money.
Yeah.
By just copying and paste.
I have right now at this time, I have no desire to program people or sell coaching. I do coach one girl who is at my gym because for me, I can't coach you online because like I want to see you every day. I want to see like what kind of passion you have for this and like how much you're pushing. Like I don't want you to send me a video of you like fucking off and doing you know your shit. Like I can't do that. So for me right now, like I'm more focused on being an athlete than I am being a coach because I don't need a million DMs by athletes bugging me every day. So I don't want that.
But there'll be a time. For that.
When I'm like older and I don't want to be maybe I don't. Just to me, I'm focused more on being an athlete than I
wouldn't.
Be a coach.
When I was competing, I wouldn't have done it.
No, it's just
too much work.
You have to worry about yourself more at this point than you're worried about everyone else. Like,
and I think it'll take more away from you as an athlete.
I do. I just think it's just stressful.
Because like once, like if I was to coach people right now, like that's what I would pour myself into.
Yeah.
So once I'm like done with powerlifting,
myself,
once I'm done focusing on myself, I mean, who knows? Maybe I will coach later on, and then I'll have way more knowledge. Like I've been in this for 5 years. Like when I've been in it for 10, I feel like then I could take people's money.
Yeah, because there's these people that have been in it for like 2 years that are coaching other people, and it's like you haven't been in long enough to know what you're doing.
If I can't pick apart your weaknesses and tell you what's going on, where,
and how to
why,
fix it,
if I can't tell you how to fix it, then I don't want your money.
And the other thing is by that time you'll have gone to the point where you've worked with Shane Sweat, you've worked with Louis Simmons, and you've worked with Chad, and you figured out what your program is.
Exactly.
I started online programming like 2 years ago. I was almost 30 years into the game because I had before that, like when I was throwing, I would have gave you Louis' system, or what I have seen and read as Louis' system because that's what I believed in. Now, my thoughts on training have evolved, and they still incorporate a lot of Louis. But there's also Judd Logan from Ashland, and there's also some John Smith from Ole Miss, and so you start to develop
your own style,
and that's when I think it becomes necessary for you to either pass that along or sell it to somebody because otherwise it dies with you. Get it out there and experiment and get these people going.
When people DM me and say, "Do you program?" or do you coach, or I'm looking for a coach or a program, like one, I'll always recommend the people that I respect that I think will help them.
Yeah.
But two, I'll always say I will help however I can. Like, if you want to send me your videos, and like tell me where you think you're weak at or whatever your weak lift is, and from a video, I'll try to help you and tell you what you can do to fix it, or like what I do to fix a weakness or whatever. I'll help anyone.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to take your money, because then you hired me and I am like, you're entitled to me.
Yeah.
If I'm just helping you, then when I get to it, I get to it. Like, and if I don't get to it, I don't get to it. Sorry, but I'm more focused on myself. But I will help anyone. And anyone at the gym, whoever asks me, like, which it doesn't happen often because the gym bros are usually have too big of egos to ask for help from a girl. But if they do, then I always try to help. But I just don't, I don't want it to be my job. Like, I feel like when you're already spending so much time per week, like training yourself and thinking about lifting all the time, that when you take that much more thinking about lifting, like your brain would never get off of lifting, which is hard enough now to like turn it off of lifting. Like when you lay in bed at night and you're like, okay, today I benched and this felt weird, or like this was weak, so how can I fix that? But then I would be like, how can I fix that? And then this client has this wrong with them, so how can I fix that? And how can I make this better? Like, it would just never stop and would take over your life.
And it probably you'd get to a point where you're like not as
I would just get
motivated.
Yeah, I would just get tired of people.
It's easy
tired
to
of people's lifts.
Yeah, and that's what I was
people
reading.
Like whining. Like I couldn't because to me I'm like a no excuses person. So like the first time someone was like, that hurt, or like I don't like it, then I would be like,
well, I guess you don't want it.
Yeah, then shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
This is not your sport then. Like.
What were you saying? You were reading what?
I was reading this thing because I'm like, I was struggling with a little bit of motivation. Was it last week? And then Chad had sent me this article, and it was just like, you're not always going to be like, I've been in this sport 5 years. Mm-hmm. You're not going to wake up every single day and be on fire and motivated. It's like those days you guys are like really push through, and but that would take a lot more for. Yeah. If I was more involved in like coaching, and I just can't imagine like where my mind it would be then. Yeah. Like it already is like kind of crazy.
So, and how many kids do you have?
One.
Okay, so you have one, and you have probably. Do you do anything outside? I mean, do you have like hobbies or other interests right now?
That's such a terrible question.
Well, no, it's really hard,
no.
Right? So when I was competing, I didn't do anything else.
No, I don't. I mean,
that's what I feel like.
Either? Yeah.
I mean, I hate when people are like, "What do you do for fun?" And I'm like, I do fun things sometimes,
right.
But I don't ever really feel like, besides lifting, and now that I'm judging meets, then it's like, oh, on my free weekends, then I'm going to a different city and I'm watching other people lift.
Yeah.
And it's like lifting, food, kids.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I do try to like have a normal life every once in a while where I like go out and like, like go to like a concert, or like even just a dinner where I'm like, okay, I'm not thinking about like how many carbs and protein and fat are in this meal right now.
Right.
And, I don't drink, but.
Why not?
I know you're all about like your whiskey and stuff. I hate drinking.
Oh.
Like other things, sure. Drinking makes me feel like ass. Like I cannot recover from drinking.
That's just true.
How old are you?
27. I'll be 28 in a couple months. I just don't like.
30.
That's my hobby.
That's your hobby.
Finding good whiskey.
I mean, like margarita,
rums,
like a margarita, like cool. Like if I'm at Mexican and like I'll get like a drink, but like one margarita, like even at like I don't want to say like my tolerance because I don't really have an alcohol tolerance, but like I'll be like probably not driving home. Yeah, I'll be buzzed for sure.
Yeah.
Like
a margarita.
Yeah.
Just because I don't drink often.
Right.
Yeah. We're just like
my wife's the same way. One margarita, she's fucked up. And I'm driving her home.
I'm like, someone's gotta drive me home.
So easy.
It's super fun though when you do decide to, because you're like one margarita. Because I'm like a fruity drink person. Like I can't drink like beer. Disgusting. Whiskey, no.
Same.
It's gotta be like fruity and taste good, and it probably has like. I don't even want to know how many calories are in like
boat drinks. They're called boat drinks.
Yeah,
Pina
like give me those umbrella drinks.
Yeah, right.
And I will do those all day long. But like just regular alcohol, no.
Yeah.
I can't sit and sip liquor like you do. Maybe that'll like develop.
Not for fun, yeah.
Yeah,
not for fun.
Not for anything.
We were talking last night, and my wife was like, I said something like. About our cocktail hour. We have a cocktail hour every night. And,
oh my God.
She went into the
Is
doctor.
This what being 40 is like?
Well, she went into the doctor,
I
and the
can't wait
doctor
till I'm
asked
40.
her, how often do you drink? And she had to think about it. She goes, my God, I drink every night. She goes, am I an alcoholic?
You have a problem.
We have our cocktail hour before dinner, and that's just the way it is. But she's like, maybe we should just like not drink for a month to see how that goes. And I was like,
Not really.
yeah. We did that. I did that last month. It wasn't
Did
fun.
you?
We called it Jacked January. So last year we did 1 month where there was no booze. There's no booze. We had to do yoga once a week for an hour, and then we had to make sure we were training 4 times a week. And I was already doing keto, but everyone else had to do the ketogenic diet.
I know you
too.
did the carnivore month last month,
Oh,
but I didn't realize
well,
that.
You're giving up drinking and you're doing yoga.
Yeah,
Is this married?
Who
Who's
are
being
you?
married in 40?
And our yoga instructor was tough.
Yoga is tough.
Yeah.
Like, it is not easy.
Yeah.
No.
But
Especially
like you
now.
said, we
Especially
were,
now.
I
You're
just got
not
off
mobile.
that carnivore diet. I tried that for a month, and I felt great, but my cholesterol jumped almost 70 points.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I don't think you put that on your Instagram
No,
post.
I didn't find out until after I did the Instagram. I said I was still waiting for
Yeah,
my
you were
test.
like, this is great. I did this and
Yeah.
that and this.
Yeah,
and my
jumped
cholesterol.
almost 70 points. So that's why I have to go to the doctor on Monday. So
Ooh.
Cut down on all that steak that you were
No, I'm
eating.
just gonna get on a statin so I can keep eating the way I eat. And
Like, talking
it'll
about
drop my
yoga, I
cholesterol.
was watching, like, there was a lot of little girls yesterday. So these girls were benching, and the one girl had, like, such a hard arch, and she was laying on the bench, and she reached, like, she was laying on it, and she reached down and pulled her leg back into herself so she could, like, arch more. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure if I laid on a bench, I couldn't even reach my leg, and if I tried to pull it back into myself, I would, like, cramp my hamstring
Well,
and my lat and everything else
Watching
at the same
both
time.
of you, I was saying, man, I can't even imagine getting into
I don't
the
even have a
positions you
hard
guys
arch.
get into. I cannot. My quads would explode if I tried to get my feet back like that.
I feel like I don't even have that bad of an arch. That's another thing that
It's not. Neither one of you are
DMs,
crazy, but
yeah.
the way you get your feet
It's
back.
something that's
and-
like I have noticed, like from watching like previous videos, from gaining a little bit of weight, is like my arch is less because it's just like I'm less mobile.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What's up? What are you doing? What's next up
I
for
am
you as far as
doing
training?
a meet in York, Pennsylvania
Oh, that's
on
right. We
March
talked about that.
16th.
Right.
Yes.
You guys should go check out. Do you know Steve Pulcinella out in Philadelphia? He runs Iron Sport Gym.
Oh, okay. Dave Jinks trains there.
Okay. Oh yeah, he's he's got the huge squat, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking the right guy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
He's got all his lifts are huge.
Yeah. Yeah, Steve was telling me about that guy. Yeah, go check out Iron Sport while you're out there. Really
Okay.
old school. They've got everything you could possibly want for Olympic lifting and powerlifting and strongman. He was like the only gym. He's one of my best friends, but for years, if you wanted to lift an Atlas stone, you had to go to Steve's place because there was only 2 sets in the world and then his gym.
Oh wow.
So you had the McGlashan stones in Scotland and the Atlas stones in Canada, and then you had his gym with Atlas stones. But he had like yokes and farmer's walk stuff way before all these CrossFit gyms opens up. And it's just like a go and pay your $30 for your month membership. But really, he's got all elite
I follow
fitness
him on
equipment.
Instagram.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't slid into your DMs yet.
We've messaged, but like,
Yeah.
I was like reply to the like, because he always posts like funny stuff from his gym.
Yeah.
Like, when guys like destroy the bathroom, and he said he was
Exactly.
gonna install like cameras above like the bathroom stall.
I tell people all the time whenever someone wants to open a gym that if you want to open a gym, you should have to follow Steve Pulcinella for a year on
Yeah,
Instagram
his stuff's hilarious.
because it'll tell you what running a gym is all about, and
Rough.
it's rough. Yeah, but so you're going to York and you're going to do one. You should both be in Pennsylvania for one.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not till June, and then I'll probably do something, maybe the Midwest Open in October again. And I think this year they said it's going to be like you have to have a qualifying total. It's going to be like Can-Am or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're talking about it's going to be like better, not better, but more. I don't know if you say
More
exclusive.
betterist.
More better.
Yeah.
Qualifying totals and stuff like that. So that'll be good. Last year I won the best lifter. And winning best female lifter and Joe Sullivan winning the best male lifter was like pretty legit because he's like a pretty hardcore lifter. He trains at Elite. So just winning that.
I think I follow him on Instagram.
He has a lot of rants.
Yeah.
He has a lot to say. So it's always funny to sometimes like his IG story is like this long,
Right.
and they're like this big, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, I can't today.
I still haven't figured out the whole IG story yet.
Oh, it's the best. The question. He answers a lot of questions. He's very smart though. And he answers a lot of questions.
Very smart.
Yeah.
And he's only like 25, and he knows because he's like a Dave Tate like carbon copy.
Right.
So he's learned a lot from him, and just I don't want to say like spits back out, but he's very smart. But he's like an elite lifter.
Yeah.
Super strong. He's totaled like
a lot.
What's he total?
He's competed in like every weight class. He's starting at like 181 all the way up to like 240 now.
Oh shit! I'll have to get him on the podcast.
220.
What
Reach out.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
He's 6 in the world, 220.
Yeah.
Or if it's 20, I think it's around 2200. It's a little bit below that. I just feel nice.
He just
Yeah,
tore his
He's
bicep.
that elite. He's
Yeah, I'll give him a holler.
Yeah, good.
You should get him and JP Carroll.
Oh
on
my
here.
god,
Yeah.
that would be the
Those
most
two-
F-bombs that have ever this room's heard total ever. And
Because we just
Here.
went 2 weeks ago and trained at Elite on just like a random Tuesday. Chad was training with JP. We're going to go this Tuesday. But they're just like a fun bunch. It's cool 'cause
I should
they
reach
have
out
like
to them.
the craziest gym I've ever been to in my life. And he has just like 6 athletes where he's just like,
But
like
they
you have
just-
this huge facility and
like 8 monolifts and
Oh yeah, I've been in
yeah,
there.
it's
It's
every
badass.
single attachment you could. I mean, it's crazy.
I went there for a seminar last year that I won because I probably wouldn't have like paid for it myself, but I won it, so I went, and like we were in the warehouse for like the lecture portion, and there's just like pallets full of like Texas Power Bars.
Right.
I'm like, are these like party favors? Can
Yeah,
we take one of
right.
these with us on our way out the door?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, just every possible thing that you could need to.
I did. I think I did an Instagram story of me just wandering around the gym with my
Yeah.
phone,
Yeah.
taking all the bars.
So
And
we're there on Tuesdays. You and me say something for them to come on the show. That would be
just let them know.
incredible.
I'll reach out to them.
Yeah.
I'll
Joe
be
would be
reached.
really
So
good.
you know, if you hear
He's
if you
super
hear
knowledgeable.
it,
They're just those two are really really good.
yeah, let them know. I'll reach out to them and I'll give them a holler this week sometime and get them on.
Joe Sullivan, JP Carroll.
Yeah.
Cool.
They're
Excellent.
both- JP, I think he's about to compete again soon, maybe.
Yeah, at the Arnold.
Yeah, so he's real close to competing, and then Joe just tore his bicep. I think bicep, something like that. He's had surgery on something, so he's out for a little
You
bit.
guys gonna both go down to the Arnold?
Yeah. Chad and I are both working
I-
in the Live Large booth.
Say I hate
Oh,
Friday,
right.
Saturday, and Sunday.
I hate people's, but
I
I'm,
can't.
I know.
I've
but
got a
it's
ton of
just-
interviews scheduled, but I'm not going to the Arnold itself. I'm gonna.
I have a lot of friends competing, and like it's kind of like where everyone like meets up like once a year.
Right.
So I'm gonna go and try to like stomach it as much as possible.
I
What I
went
do
to
hate about the Arnold though is
Harlem
like
Games last
every
year.
gym bro
Ugh.
ever shows up in their animal t-shirt
Yep.
and like walks like this
Yep.
through it, and I'm like, we can fit twice as
Imaginary lap syndrome.
yeah, like we can fit twice as many people in here if you would calm the fuck down and put your arms down to your
I
sides.
can't do it anymore. I went to the Highland Games last year, and then I walked over to the Hate booth and Norris Fitness to say hi to those guys, and it was just like, I'm out of here. So I've got like 8 or 9 podcasts lined up for that Thursday or
Wow.
Friday. I'm just gonna go down and go to people's hotels,
Damn.
hook up their podcast, and then I'm going home. I'm not even going in that place.
Yeah,
It's just
it's
too many
It's a
people.
lot.
It's a lot.
I don't even. We went to a brewery last night for dinner, and there's just so many people here. I just can't deal with this.
I'm
It's
kinda
so
that way.
loud and.
Like when I go into public now, and then it's like, I don't know if like everybody gets this, but like it's not uncomfortable, but like when I go to like Walmart like after the gym, and guys are like, oh, like, are you a bodybuilder? What do you train for? And I'm like, why are you looking at me? Stop looking at me, please.
Well, yeah, but you can't. Both you guys are jacked. You can't
So I get.
blame
I
normal
don't even
people
get
for
lifters.
looking
Like,
at
are you a wrestler?
A
Are
wrestler.
you a gymnast? I'm like, are you a CrossFitter? I'm
I
like,
can
I'm a
see-
power lifter.
I can see gymnasts.
when people say
Yeah.
bodybuilder, I'm always just like, yes, because like I'm not gonna try to explain
Right.
it to you.
Yeah.
Because then it's gonna go into a long conversation.
Yeah,
and
I used to bench this in high school, and then
Yes.
like I was
Oh
like
my
shopping
gosh.
for like Oreos, and this
Hate
guy was
that,
like,
yeah.
do you train for something? Well, he said, do you train for something? And I was like, yeah, I'm a power lifter. And he was like, then people always try to relate it like, oh, my second cousin's wife was a power lifter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool. And then it's always like, do you know her? And I'm like,
No.
there's a lot of power
Do you
lifters.
know her?
I got that yesterday. Someone's like, oh, I used to lift weights. I used to have this. He's like, you remind me of my son. My son used to lift weights, and we had a big gym, and then he got on heroin. He sold everything.
Oh,
and I'm like,
Christ.
I was like, okay, well,
Life
have a
story.
good day. And then he was just like, what size are your biceps? And I'm like, all right, I gotta go.
Here we go.
Gotta go.
Then they're gonna slide into your DMs with that.
Right.
This guy was like 70, I don't know, but
I like sometimes the old people, like you never know like what someone has done. So like a lot of the times I'll humor the old guys. Like sometimes like you could be talking to like a former world record holder and not know it because like you just never know what people have done. So like I'll humor those people more than I'll humor like
We got a guy who
young
lives
people.
across the condo complex from us that I found out was a fighter pilot in Vietnam, got shot down and spent like 3 years in the Hanoi Hilton, you know, in prisoner of war camps. Just like some shuffling old man now, and it's like you had no idea that he was a fucking savage 40 years ago, you know? So I try to get him on the podcast too, but he's like, I don't know if I want to talk about it.
That would be super awesome though.
Yeah.
Just hearing people's stories like that. I can sit and listen to people talk all day. Like,
Yeah, that's why I do
well,
this.
I mean, yeah,
I
that's
just
what
like
you
hearing
do.
stories, you know? But yeah.
human story.
All right, well, I'm going to get you two the hell out of here because we've been taking up your entire day. And I want to thank you both for coming
Thank
out.
you for having us.
Anything you guys
Thank
want to
you
plug before
so
we
much.
go?
I don't really plug
Anything?
much
I know,
these
you
days.
got much going on.
I besides you, I mean, I've kind of not dropped, but kind of like fake ass sponsors that like want to strap their name to you, but don't.
I don't give any money though. Hopefully someday I will.
And it's not even the
That's
money
my
thing. It's
goal.
just like, oh hey, do you want a 20% discount on shirts? And I'm like,
Yeah, that's lame.
Yes.
I'm
Because
not
you're still getting people to give you money.
yeah, I'm like, I'm making you money and. Not
What are you
gonna-
getting in return?
Yeah, I'm not
I don't
gonna-
even call you guys sponsors. I call you brand ambassadors. But I
I
actually
call
just
myself
give
sponsored.
you shit free. I'd like to get to the point where we give you money. That's the goal. So
I just
I'd
had
like
a
to
lot
be
of
able to- Even we
sponsors.
could just put you up in a hotel room for your meets and shit. You know, that would be cool. But buy more shit and I'll sponsor Kylee for real.
I mean, I plug the Refined Savage
You
a
do.
lot.
You do good.
It's like I literally, it's probably the only sponsor that I haven't like phased out to a
Right.
point. Because
Then Heidi comes walking in here with Live Large stuff
I
on.
know.
She doesn't even wear Refined Savage shit.
I
She's
mean,
always
I guess I gotta
Live Large has
get
like
some-
85,000 Instagram followers. Just
I like, so I'm in
dry
Ohio
humps
this
me
weekend.
all over the
speaking-
place when we go to
speaking
meets.
of
The
Live
same
Large,
meets.
I'm in Ohio this weekend. He just opened the pizza place, and I'm like begging the friend I was staying with. I'm like, let's fucking go
Yeah.
get pizza this morning. And she's like, we just traveled for like 2 days and spent 24 hours at a 48 in a gym, probably more than that. And I'm like, but pizza though, like I really want one of those brunch pizzas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get
with
him on the show
everything.
too. Me and Chad
The
were
everything
talking
bagel
about
crust.
that.
Oh my god. Then he sold out by like 3 o'clock yesterday or some shit like that.
That's why we're going after this, because we have to give them.
Well, tell him I'm gonna get a hold of him because I'd like to get him on the show because
Okay,
he's
cool.
inspiring.
Living
That-
his best life for
Yeah,
sure.
right?
He works
Guys
so
like
hard.
him and Andy Lewis at Norris Fitness and Matt Vincent with Hate are all, that's inspirational shit, man. There's no need to be like at odds with each other. That rising tide raises all boats. And I just look at those guys. I saw that we were talking, Chad and I were talking, they had Andy Lewis from Norris Fitness had a picture of the back of his pickup truck with 100 orders in one day he was taking to the post office. It's like, that's fucking awesome,
Yeah,
man.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to address that many of them, but if I get to the point where I'm selling 100 a day, I'll hire somebody to address those
Right.
things.
There you go.
I got to that point too. Like I had my little brand. I just sell my shirts that
Yeah.
I like. But the first time that I took, because I had like I had like a friend helping me. She had like a label maker.
Yeah.
Well, then like when I took it over, I didn't have the label maker, so I take it to the post office, and I didn't have return addresses on any of them because I was like, I'm not fucking return addressing all this shit. And then I get there with like 20 shirts, and they're like, you have to put return addresses
Yeah.
on them, and I was like, do you have a Sharpie? I'm gonna be here a minute.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you probably couldn't even
Just
got them
scribble something
back
on
to
there.
me if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Thankfully, everyone got their shirts because I was not about that life. It was terrible.
All right, well, let's get the hell out of here. I want to thank you guys for coming out,
Thank
and
you so
good
much.
luck in your meets, and keep us posted. I'm sure we'll do this again.
I'll have to
All right,
check back in
awesome.
afterwards.
All right, guys. This has been the Refined Savage. See ya. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that one. Thanks for watching. You can go online, check us out, therefinedsavage.com. Check out the new shirts we have out there. We have the new Strong Women Muscle Tank that are flying off the shelves, as well as the bomber shirts. We also have big gym shirts back in stock. And as always, check out the online programming. You can email directly at blinddoggym@gmail.com for more information. See ya.